Welcome everyone back to Spoiler Warning featuring myself, Tom Colohue. We are, as always, talking wrestling news today. Our top story will be on the retirement tour of John Cena, the 2025 massive goodbye that he is planning. We're also going to be talking Bobby Lashley amid interest from TNA and AEW leaving the WWE and why that is. We've got a little update on Vince McMahon. There's some contradictory information and I want to break it down for you. Plus, more information as to what the Street Trash moniker was going to be. I'll give you a hint. It was never going to be a new faction name for Judgment Day. In fact, was the exact opposite. CM Punk is going global. We're going to see him popping up on NXT. More on that. As well as a little bit on some unfortunate news on the passing of Afa and Noi. We have now lost both Wild Samoans in the same year. What I will say first and foremost is that they can be very proud of how their legacy is being carried forwards. We will also be talking about, you guessed it, Dave Meltzer's failure of a reporting structure around this particular piece of news. So I want to start by saying welcome to everyone. Thank you very much for joining us. So many of you already here. I didn't advertise on X today. I'm trying to start saying X instead of Twitter. I don't think I'm doing brilliantly, but there are already 50 of you here and 12 likes. Let's get that ball rolling with the likes as we start to go through the news. There's plenty of news here. There's maybe a slightly more brief one. I am always looking forward to sharing screens with your good selves. I want to say a massive hello to everyone who's joining on both the YouTube and also on the Twitch side. I want to say hi to Ashton, to Robin Dave, to Jason, to Bailey, to Martin. Thank you very kindly for renewing your channel membership for a 7th month. We also have Spider Boss in the chat. Michael's in the chat. Hello, guys. Good to see you. Spider Boss is asking, gotta ask, do you know what Tony Khan thinks about Britt Baker's attitude? I think he thinks he can work with it and will likely continue doing so. Again, as I mentioned on Monday, whole situation's been blown massively out of proportions, as has now been confirmed by MJF. Daniel says, yo, welcome. Leon says, hi Tom, hope you're doing well. Doing very well, thank you Leon, good to see you mate. Marcel says, hi Tom and chat, how are you all? We do have this thing now, always very good for the chat rate. If you talk amongst yourselves, check in on each other, make sure you're okay. These things are important. We like to be a very giving community here, and it does indeed help the chat rate if you literally talk amongst yourselves. So please do consider saying hi to each other as well. Rick Ann says hello, welcome Rick Ann. Hello Angel as well, saying hello Tom, hope you're doing awesome today. Irish just says hashtag watch the pig. Joe Gacy I think already is one of the most compelling members of the Wired Six. We will be getting to that Spider Boss. Yes, as we're aware, Dave Meltzer did report 4 years straight that The Rock would be turning up for WrestleMania, and when he eventually got it right, the man basically had a big celebration. Bailey says, hello Tom, plenty of us still call it Twitter simply because Elon doesn't want us to. Yeah, I'm fine with that. Juan says, hey Tom, you were kind of lagging, I just fixed it. If you just fixed it, it was certainly a problem on your side, but if anyone else is experiencing that, please let me know. If I see anyone who's having any technical issues, it does mean I can look to basically help them if they are my side, or at least identify if they're on your side. Sean said, Pro Wrestling Finesse put out a tweet about departures from WWE. Becky's on the list, they're getting attacked and called trolls. A comment saying Becky didn't leave the company. Becky Lynch is indeed a free agent at this point in time and is fielding offers from different promotions. Hello Billy, good to see you. I'm sorry to hear Bismo, hope you feel better soon. Chris says, hey Tom, can you give us any information on Bobby Lashley and MVP's departure from WWE? Yes, I can. That will be our second piece of information. Doing very well, thank you, Ashton. I hope you are too. Eric says, good evening, Tom. How are you doing? Doing very well, Eric. Spider-Boss says, watching AEW Dynamite, Britt made Camille look bad on her segment with Mercedes and Camille. Yeah, that's the job of wrestlers, to make each other look bad, particularly when they're wrestling. We will be touching on that soon, DM. It was in the opening headlines. We have more on it later. To be clear, that's not me trying to clickbait the news. As I say, I did announce the information earlier. If it hasn't already been shared and you're not already aware of it, we will just be detailing more as regards to reporting on it a little later. Just wanted to clarify that point. So as we get to our first piece of news, which will be John Cena's retirement tour, I can say we have 75 people watching, 25 likes. Less than a third of you have hit that thumbs up so far. If you're able to, please consider hitting thumbs up, because it will make a very big difference to the YouTube algorithm and help the growth of the channel, and I very much appreciate it. We are starting with John Cena's farewell tour. There's a little bit of information here which may surprise you, and a little bit of information which I think you're going to very much enjoy. John Cena has given the WWE a list of WWE talent that he wants to work with in his last year in the company. They do include recognizable names such as LA Knight, as well as names such as AJ Styles, who he's got a very good rapport with. There's also people he's worked with in the past extensively, including Kevin Owens and Randy Orton. I'm told Bobby Lashley's name was on that list, but it is not, of course, anymore. Braun Breaker also likely to get a shot against Cena, but there are some names notable by their absence, and they're particularly names that it seems like John Cena, sorry, I gave the game away there, is steering clear of. Either he's passed them before, or to put it simply, he doesn't want to get in the way of their current storylines. Obvious and glaring by their omission are said to be the names Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. And this does suggest that we are likely to see John Cena appearing more on the Raw brand than the SmackDown brand, but what I'm told is that we will see on a weekly basis more of John Cena than we don't see of John Cena. I suspect we are going to see something involving John Cena and the Wyatt Six. I will not at all be surprised to see them engage, as in many ways Bray Wyatt did with John Cena an age ago. But at this point in time, big names such as Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns are not on the list of people who have been requested by John Cena to be part of his farewell tour. So take that as you will. It is, in my eyes, quite big news, but it also does make quite a lot of sense. John Cena is currently building what will be his final tour with the WWE. I'm told he has no interest whatsoever in top-level championships, but we may well see him coming after the United States Championship. He has promised LA Knight a match. Angel says, Raquel is training to get back in the ring. Do you see her being involved in the Judgment Day storyline? I do not know. Game 59 says, hi Tom, every time I'm watching the stream live on YouTube, it does tend to freeze for roughly 10 seconds. Thought it was just on my side, just an FYI, not really an issue. I appreciate that clarification, Chargame. That hopefully will be something I can dig into. The internet's pretty good here, so it does come down to technology overall. In time, hopefully as the house starts to improve and I'm able to start spending money on myself again, which will be next year, I may be able to start upgrading some of my technology and maybe have a backdrop that isn't just a plain white wall. But for now, overall, I'm pretty happy with what I've got going on here. Let me know if anything else does go wrong, and if there does continue to be that delay, and anyone else can please let me know if that does happen for you. DM says, Drew McIntyre and CM Punk is the most logical match to main event Bad Blood inside Hell in a Cell. And DM, your name does kind of give away the suggestion that you might be slightly biased there. Sid says, my YouTube stream is working perfect. Brilliant, Sid. Good to hear it. Spider-Boss says, I think Rhea versus Liv 2 has to be an I Quit match with Judgment Day banned from ringside. Then Liv Morgan is quitting. Metal Mama, that's an interesting name. Says, hello all, and please include R-Truth. Well, R-Truth, his hero was John Cena. It would be remiss of him to miss that opportunity. Crush suggests Gunter as well. Guys, let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat who you would like to see John Cena face in his final farewell tour. Yes, this is me shamelessly boosting that chat rate, but also in general, could be fun. Who do you want to see John Cena face during his final year with the company? Joe says, hey everyone, hope as well. I hope so too. Thank you, Joe, for checking in. Chris says, boo, I want to see Cena versus Cody. And nobody also says, lame. Jason says, I wish the Cena tour went from Mania to Mania. Daniela is saying, do we expect a 10-bell salute tonight? Not sure on that one. They do tend to do... Pardon me. They do tend to do things in their own way. The 10-bell salute is not rolled out very often. Hello, noob. Good to see you, mate. Ashton wants even more John Cena. Angel says they need to make a pay-per-view dedicated to John Cena of MGK Invincible as a soundtrack. No intention of doing that, and John Cena would be upset if they did. John Cena, to my knowledge, wants this to be fairly nondescript. He does not want to be the main man for this farewell tour. He wants to essentially get the Ric Flair treatment before Ric Flair returns several times. Spider-Boss says, do you think we could see Cena working with Rhea and Damian Priest versus the New Judgment Day? I don't think I could see any reason for that. Lugan says, hi guys, welcome mate, good to see you, welcome to the show. Barton says, I'm driving so podcasting tonight mate, but I'm here. Welcome mate. I mean, that works perfectly for me, as you know. For anyone who is living a very, very busy life, as Martin does, you can of course listen to this show on podcast. This does not need to be watched live. It does not need to be watched, doesn't need to be watched. You can just literally put on YouTube and listen to this. I will eventually, when I have more time, be able to put all of this into podcast format as well, and I reckon that will help the channel grow in just the same way. So if you are only able to listen, you are still, of course, very welcome. Tristan says, do you see Charlotte or Bayley crashing Nia's celebration tonight? No, I do not. I think a new face will rise to step into the way of Nia Jax. I have my eye on Bianca and Jade Cargill as well. Juan says, hey Tom, can you confirm Alvarez's guess on Bryan Danielson possibly retiring after All In? I cannot. He has been told several times that he should be considering retiring. I have been told several times that the doctors, and in fact many in AEW, want him to retire. However, I've also been told several times that Bryan Danielson has no real intention of retiring. Lisa says, SmackDown, can we see big returns happen tonight? Can. Will we? Not sure. DM says, I think maybe they're keeping Randy away from Cody for now. If The Rock did not make it to Mania 41, Randy may be a backup plan. Randy is a backup plan. Brad, welcome back, mate. Hope you're good. Says, hey, Tom, on my new phone, had to make a new account on YouTube. Well, welcome regardless, mate. Always good to see you. Eric says, according to PWInsider Elite, Damage Control is listed internally as babyfaces, but Asuka is listed under miscellaneous, along with Raquel Rodriguez as miscellaneous as well. Essentially, that just means they're not currently available. Makes sense to me. Not true, Lisa. Adam Cole still gets pretty rave reviews. Ed, welcome, sir. I am not facing John Cena. Brad suggests Gunter. Ashton wants John versus Randy. Rob wants John Cena versus Sami Zayn. A match we've not seen for a very long time. Spider-Man says, I'd love to see Cena facing Randy Orton in his final match. Marcel has Gunter. Noob says Randy Orton versus John Cena, the final showdown. Angel also has Randy Orton. Metal Mama says, I am usually on Twitter, but watch Days over here. Finally caught one of your lives. I'm a Firefly for life. You are not alone, Metal Mama. You are going to find a very welcome home here. Suggest Cena versus Daniel Bryan, but I know it won't happen. Those will be the days. Kush wants Cena versus Karrion Kross. I feel fairly confident, unfortunately, that's not going to happen. Bailey says the last match, Braun takes him out, passing the torch. Billy Crystal suggests Michael Cole. Marcel says, hi Tom, have you seen the Fulham ladies now have AEW as shirt sponsors? I have. That's an interesting way of doing things. Sid wants to see Rhea Ripley versus Dominic Mysterio, which does not feature John Cena. Chris says, good evening Tom, got you on while riding home from the grocery store. Once again, podcast format. Always appreciate it, Chris. Welcome to the show. Nate says, John Cena versus Cody Rhodes. It's time to pass the torch. Shah Game says, Cena versus Jacob Fatu would be great. I don't know if the loss to Solo makes it less impactful. Sean says, Randy was on What Do You Want to Talk About? Said he wants Cody to be his retirement match. Said he wants John Cena to induct him into the Hall of Fame. I think that would be a great celebration overall of John Cena's career. Coot says, I'd personally see him facing whoever the IC champ is, since the story is already there, and that being the only belt he hasn't won. Marcel is working and listening as well. Always an option available. Sneaky, sneaky. Spider-Bell says, any update on Adam Cole's return? I don't have that information. Unfortunately, I don't have connections to the AEW physio department. Entertainment just says, I'd like to see heel Cena versus LA Knight. There will not be a heel Cena. DM says, Tom, your honest opinion on Cody's world title run so far? Solid overall. He is kind of, unfortunately, being forgotten in the backdraft of Bloodline. The Bloodline are clearly being considered far more important. Angel says, really wish Edge was still with WWE so we could have got one more Edge versus Cena match. I don't think it's impossible that Cena is rented out to AEW. Just want to point that out. Rizal said, do you think WWE knows who they want to win the Rumble matches this early? Yes. Chris says, Charlotte returned? Not yet. Burn says, finally made it live. Welcome, Burn. Good to see you, mate. Chris says, I'll get to that one, Chris. We have a bit more on that one. I did announce that at the beginning of the show. There'll be details as regards to reporting of it a little later. Bailey says, I watched a video clip on the AEW All In 2025 announcement. Mercedes Money was visibly reading from a statement in her hand. Does AEW want specific talking points from her in these events, or is she just not comfortable talking ad hoc? Bit of both. It's an interesting one. The WWE never trusted Sasha Banks with a live microphone. It's incredibly rare that she could a promo on her own in the ring. If you look back, it just didn't happen. It's one of the reasons she was never a champion for too long. The WWE had no confidence in her promo skills. Wow, Metal Mama, brutal. Lisa wants Nia Jackson, Piper Niven. Hello, Joey, good to see you, mate. Zane wants to see Jordan Grace crash the Nia celebration. That could be fun, I like that. The other Mike wants Cena versus Cody. Joey says, who do you see appearing in the Casino Battle Royal All In? And that brings us to our second piece of news, which is as regards the, it's not a release, regarding the contract not being renewed for Bobby Lashley. We have just broken 100 viewers on YouTube. We have only 40 likes. Let's keep those thumbs ups coming so that we can continue to grow as a channel. Please do help out as best you can, simply with a thumbs up. Bobby Lashley has now officially left the WWE. He and MVP had no intention of signing new deals. MVP was told a long time ago that a deal would not be struck or offered for him, and this is one of the many reasons he appeared at Bloodsport, having been loaned out by the WWE. There was an offer on the table for Bobby Lashley, but it is described as insulting at best. Insulting at best. Bobby Lashley has chosen to leave the WWE. He is confident that he'll have offers elsewhere, and he's absolutely correct. What I posted earlier on X, and I do want to say there's a slightly different format I'm going for at the moment on Twitter, so I'm going to read this out, and if you're not following me over there, please do consider doing so. What I reported, and I've reported quite a bit, you have to click on the tweet to see the full thing, which is another way that I'm essentially clickbaiting things by making it informative. I'm clickbaiting by making you read the full thing because it's a lot. Bobby Lashley has been moved to the WWE alumni section on the WWE website, seemingly confirming reports that his contract with the company was set to expire. It expired in the last couple of days. Brock Lesnar and Vince McMahon play a big part in this outcome. Lashley versus Brock Lesnar was a match pitched multiple times very early, but for multiple reasons, it did not happen during the time of Lashley's first contract. Regular viewers of Spoiler Warning will know why. Most of Lashley's success, in fact, came during the second contract. As regards Vince McMahon, Lashley stated in interviews he believes his booking to have been better during McMahon's reign. In fact, many in WWE believe Lashley and MVP to firmly be McMahon guys. This is something reported several weeks ago here on Spoiler Warning. There is considerable interest in Lashley's services across wrestling, with TNA and AEW both believed to be very interested in bringing him in. Only now that Lashley has left WWE will he be able to field offers, but there is no doubt in my mind that he has already received several. I can confirm at this point in time, someone reached out shortly afterwards, Bobby Lashley has indeed received offers from AEW and TNA already, as well as other companies that are interested in him, but which he isn't said to be too interested in himself. Bobby Lashley will land high in the totem pole elsewhere, and yes, regardless of whether he signs for AEW, I'm confident we'll see him pop up in the Casino Battle Royal at All In. How you hide him on that plane is a difficult one. But Bobby Lashley is interested in plenty of different things. And that does not necessarily mean signing a long-term exclusive wrestling contract. The company that signs him will be the company that offers him a deal that allows him to work externally with as many different companies as he likes, including UFC, including potentially other MMA areas, and including, as you've mentioned a couple of you further down, boxing. Bobby Lashley will land on his feet and he'll be a success wherever he goes. If you've not yet done so, please consider hitting subscribe. We are just about to hit 200 views as well. 45 likes as that ball keeps rolling. Thank you, and please do continue. No worries, Metal Mama. If you talk a lot, what happens is, and people should definitely know this for Wrestling Days' streams as well, there is something called chat rate on YouTube, and chat rate is a vital component. The more people are commenting within a minute period, the higher the chat rate is. A high chat rate results in YouTube advertising your channel more. So if you are someone who chats a lot, I might not read out every comment, but it is a big help in the growth of the channel. So never apologize. Never apologize for talking. You go right ahead. One would like Cena as a heel. I don't personally see it. DM to left in the ending for Randy versus Gunter at King of the Ring was planned because Triple H kept the door open for this rematch. It was not planned. I can confirm it was not. But what I will say is when the opportunity presented itself and knowing that he was going to be the World Heavyweight Champion by Bash in Berlin, Triple H recognised an opportunity and absolutely dived on it. Eric wants John Cena versus John Laurinaitis. Spider-Boss says, I hope Roman could have promo on SmackDown. First acknowledge me of babyface Roman would hit different. Yes, it was. Sean says, didn't John Cena technically pass the torch to Roman at No Mercy 2017? Yes, he did. And then several times afterwards to different people. Apparently there's multiple torches. I mean, he has been on fire several times during his career. Joey says, do you think less people will care if they keep Randy as a babyface in a feud with Cody? No, I think face versus face works just fine, particularly if it's the retirement tour of John Cena. Ashton says, how do you think Roman's promos will be certified face will be like Roman after the Shield breakup or tribal Roman? It will be tribal Roman. It will be exactly the same promos, just now people will be cheering for him. It will literally be exactly the same, just less insults to the crowd. Chris says, with John on his retirement tour, does he go into the Hall of Fame in 2025 or do we wait? Personally, yes, I would see him inducted in 2025. Thus they can save 2026 for The Rock. Vane wants Cena versus Jey Uso. Good shout. Chris says, does Cena want to face Drew McIntyre? It's not one of the names that I've been given. That doesn't mean he doesn't, though. DM says, Bryan Danielson is on the All Out pay-per-view poster, which means he may win the title for a short run, then lose it back to Swerve. It doesn't necessarily mean that. I don't necessarily think it's going to happen that way. Sean says, Joe Hendry's in a triple threat match to determine Ethan Page's challenger at No Mercy. Joe's facing Wesley and Pete Dunne. Do you think NXT goes with Joe Hendry versus Ethan Page? No, personally I think it's Pete Dunne versus Ethan Page, and that's where we go from there. Joe Hendry is obviously getting the rub of the green, but I don't necessarily see Ethan Page versus Joe Hendry just yet. That seems a little bit insulting to those that came before. Jesse Speaks, thank you very kindly for joining on the Twitch side. Welcome to the show. You will, of course, get a notification every time we go live. Jump on in chat and say hi. Any questions you've got, I will endeavour to answer them, or lurk if you prefer. Erin says, Cena, Orton, LA Knight, US Champ triple threat. Wouldn't hate it. Lisa says, we want Tom Colohue versus Dave Meltzer. I don't see much value in it. Ain't making money for me. Angel says Cena versus Punk. I mean, with Punk back, how do you miss on that one? Juan says, according to Dave Meltzer, Tom, he believes TK is scared to admit he won't get a TV deal, hence why he believes he's using these announcement tactics to hide the reality. It's not quite what's happening. The announcement tactic is a pretty infamous Pretty infamous tactic for Tony Khan. When ratings start to flag, he promises big announcements and then doesn't deliver. It's textbook. Roger wants John Cena versus Joe Hendry. That could be fun. Bailey says, WWE playing the long game with Joe Hendry. I can see him arriving at the Royal Rumble. DM says, wants John Cena versus Drew McIntyre is the one I'm looking for the most. Really hope we get it. And also Cena versus Gunter. Razar has Bobby versus Gunter, Bobby versus Braun, Bobby versus Jacob Fatu. Sad we won't see these matches. It's disappointing to see him leave. I agree. Chris says, is that why MVP has been insinuating that Triple H is racist? Surely that does him no favours and simply burns bridges. Yeah, it burns a lot of bridges. It really does. Roger thinks Bobby Lashley and MVP will go back to TNA. Oh, good to know, Mel Mama. Good to know. Fast readers, wonderful things. I'm one of them myself, and I have to be, because I try and read out every comment as best I can. Spiderbot says, with all due respect, but did cut good promos in WWE. I remember the contract signing segment with Bianca in 2021. WWE never gave Mercedes a long title run because WWE always wanted to put the title on their favourites. I've just laid out exactly information that I was given there, May, so I do suggest that you pay attention to it. Now, you may disagree, and you're welcome to do so, but I can say it wasn't about WWE wanting to put titles on their favourites. There were a number of different reasons, and it wasn't all down to that. Chris says Bobby himself stated a boxing match is in the works as well. He's a busy man already. Shah Game says, do you have any information that you could share on the whole Lucha Brothers situation? The people reporting on it so far aren't the most reliable. I do not, unfortunately. I would love to have more information on that, but that's just not information that I have. There are definitely situations where I simply do not have any information on it, and I will always, when that happens, hold my hands up and say, I've got absolutely nothing on that, and I don't think I'm going to. Sean says, do you think we see Ricochet all in? There were certainly rumours that we'd be seeing him pop up in AEW already. Disappointed we haven't seen him, because I do think Ricochet and Will Ospreay could make some magic. Chris says, of course, AEW is making offers. They love to make scrap up any ex-WWE talent. To be fair, WWE were picking up ex-TNA talent through that period, so let's not say otherwise. The other Mike says, TNA is the way to go for Bobby. No way he looked at all the big guys AEW has and says, I want to go there. He might well have done, yes. Again, I think whoever it is, it will come down to whoever has him sign a non-exclusive contract. Joey says, do you see Mustafa Ali going to AEW, or does Triple H have interest in bringing him back? Both. I think Ali will make several appearances for AEW, and that Triple H is, and I quote, desperate to bring him back. Chat rate does indeed, Bailey. Chat rate does indeed. The higher the chat rate, the more people arrive. It is a very, very powerful piece of tech. DM says, Joe Hendry did an interview with Denise Salcedo, said his match with Cena is going to happen. He promised that, so I think we're going to see that match. That says, big up Tom, who do you think Darby Allin faces at All In, if anyone? I'm not sure on that one. I don't watch enough AEW regularly to be able to say where the storylines go, and I don't have information beyond what I already had at All In. For example, last year's All In, when I said, hi, Mercedes money is there. And then she was. Spider Boss says, WWE never gave Mercedes a long title run, and then repeats what he said previously. Joey said, do you have any news on Lucha Brothers? Unfortunately not at this point. It is good to chat about Mama. Absolutely it is. Fill the chat up. Go nuts. Talk amongst yourselves. Talk to me. If you're going to talk amongst yourselves, just at them first so I know not to read it out loud. That sort of thing goes a long way. Angel, no, I don't believe Kevin Owens will turn heel before bashing Berlin. Spider Boss, yes, I think Cena versus CM Punk is a realistic prospect. And Daz wants Cena versus Cody or Roman. Cyan says, will we see Cena versus Orton at Mania? I don't suspect so, no. Orton's WrestleMania plans, to my knowledge, are already locked in. No, Roger, I did not watch the Beth Phoenix interview with Chris Van Vliet, though I have already reported that Beth Phoenix has long since left the WWE. Joey says, if Stone Cold really wants to work Mania in Vegas, who do you see him working with? Media. I see him working media. Spider-Boss says, it surprised me how NXT moved on from Trick Williams as champion to now having Joe Hendry in the title picture. Apparently, according to reports at the time, we were expecting Trick Williams to immediately appear on the main roster. Funny how that hasn't happened. Metal Mama says, Y6 versus Randy and John? Ooh. They take out Randy, burning down the house on the both of them just because it's that kind of day. I like the sound of that. So Jan says, Cena versus Reigns. Can it happen? Face versus face. Babyface versus babyface. I don't see it because it may harm the overall babyface aesthetic for Roman Reigns. It's a very recent turn. Johnson say, Tom. Welcome, John. Spider-Boss says, great video about Logan Paul and WTF. Thank you, Spider-Boss. I appreciate that. Ashton says, I like Cena versus Punk idea, but will Punk play heel? No, nobody has to play heel. Face versus face can indeed work. Mosey, welcome. Says, hey Tom, new fan, came for Wrestling Days. He talks highly of you, and I appreciate him for that. I appreciate you for joining us. Any questions you've got, drop them in the chat. Eric wants John Cena versus Uncle Howdy. For those just joining us, we are indeed saying who we want for John Cena's farewell tour. Who do you want to see John Cena take on during his final year of wrestling? Naverni says, do you have any new information about NXT Europe? Nothing I haven't already reported. So Jan says, Cena versus Punk? Yeah, for sure, but I want Punk to be babyface, not turn heel. He won't be turning heel. Sid says, when will Charlotte return to WWE? She's cleared to return, they're waiting for the right storyline. Spider-Boss says, I never got why WWE played hot potato during the Mercedes versus Charlotte rivalry in 2016, because they'd done a really big job making sure Charlotte looked like she was absolutely unstoppable, and they wanted to bring someone else up to her level. So they wanted to show that Sasha Banks and Charlotte Flair were equals. DM says, what did you think of Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk at SummerSlam? It was okay. It shouldn't have been about a friendship bracelet. That was weird. Joey says, did Triple H not view Bobby as a main event guy like Vince did? That is correct. A couple of weeks ago, I reported that Vince McMahon was viewed as the guy to really push Bobby. Bobby and MVP were both viewed as Vince McMahon guys and a relic of the old guard. So they weren't particularly wanted. Michael says Triple H's NXT was largely built off former Ring of Honor talent, and now his main roster is largely built off former Ring of Honor talent. That's what happens with wrestling. Kevin says, I don't understand why WWE never made tribute video packages for... It's a long time ago, mate. I'm not sure now's the time for it. Chris says, Triple H desperate for Ali. He must really be enjoying his TNA work. He's done good. He didn't want him to go at all. Sean says, I wonder if the Gauntlet Eliminator to determine Roxanne's next challenger at No Mercy was a backup plan in case Julia, can't make the show. Not sure on that one. Not sure. Bailey says, Bobby Lashley is 48. His peak earning opportunity is right now. I think his peak earning opportunity is the last 5 years or so. Spider-Boss says, Dax Harwood from FTR said on his IG Live, WWE made an offer to Tommy Billington, Dynamite Kid Jr., but Dynamite Kid rejected WWE's offer. That is the only source I have of that information. Joseph, Ricochet is not still with WWE. John says, I want Cena versus AJ Styles one last time. Could well happen. So Young says, I was thinking about Bryan versus Cena, but it won't happen. Sid says, do you think John Cena is the greatest of all time? No. Entertainment says, on the NXT side of things, what's up with the OTM faction? Seems to want Jada Parker on her own. I don't watch enough NXT to know what you're really talking about. Trekkipedia says, everyone help out Tom, please. Hit the like button, subscribe, and share out the stream. We have 74 viewers at the moment, 57 likes. 3 more gets us to 60. If you can make it happen, please consider doing so. Evening side, good to see you. Dax says, hey Tom, anything with the Wyatts? Not today, no. Spider-Boss says, I don't get why WWE delayed the debut of Stephanie Vaca in NXT, because they want the right storyline. Joseph, are you just guessing? You're just guessing then. Just making it up? Wonderful. Jesse says, do you think Ricky Starks starts on the main roster or NXT if he leaves? I think we need to do the if he leaves first before we get to anything else. Sid said, is Logan Paul going to take a break from WWE? Yes, he is, and he's actively doing so. Jason wants Cena versus Truth. Koo says, hey Tom, any news on Daniel Garcia? Nope. Trekkipedia says, John Cena versus Carmelo Hayes, please. Crush wants John Cena versus Tommaso Ciampa. What's up, KJ? Good to see ya. Rick says, hey Tom, do you see Taller Tonga as Roman's enforcer? So Taller Tonga. I can't avoid saying the words taller. Mel Mama says, I'd love to see Miz turn back heel and then him and Cena later down the line fight. Joseph, who of course is here making things up and completely guessing, is here accusing people of making things up and guessing. So everyone say hi to the troll, and then you know what to do next. You know what to do next. Navoni says, is it true Joe Hendry's contract will finish up at the end of next year? That is rumoured at this point. Zayan says, will Brock ever return to WWE? They don't want him to. Chris says, I'm sure MVP making particular comments about Triple H on Instagram sure didn't do many favours. He's probably never welcome back. He was told that there was no intention of bringing him back or renewing his contract well before he made those comments. Nathan says, I think John Cena should win the world title and then drop it to Braun Breaker. Charles says, Cena versus Rock one final time would be interesting, especially since there's a story from Mania 40. Ashton, it's a debatable point. We'd need to know more information about it rather than hearsay and speculation at this point. We'd need a bit more information, basically. Drive-by says, hi Tom, any more news on SmackDown's move to USA in the Netflix deal? No. The news is that it's happening. And everyone's really excited for it. I'm not sure what more news there could be. Sean says, in an interview with Adrian Hernandez, Stone Cold confirmed he and WWE were close to securing an appearance at WrestleMania 40. Stone Cold said he and his wife had something going on and he was unable to make an appearance. That is similar to what I reported at the time. He simply wasn't available is what I was told, and Undertaker, who was in town, was called in last minute to make it happen, and he did indeed make his appearance. Right, I'm seeing a couple of people saying we're getting lag. Let me just check my notifications. Nothing's popping up on my side, so I'm seeing a couple of people saying they're getting lag. Can I just see if anyone else is having those same issues? So if you're getting any lag, please let me know, and let's see what we can do about it. Hey, Ishii, good to see you. Eric suggests John Cena versus Obafemi. I like it. Ashton says, I hate these conversations, but these allegations of Bobby and... To be clear, Bobby Lashley has not said anything. Ishii says, do you see the Fiend returning, or Alexa, or Uncle Howdy? Since in the Bo Dallas video it said other doors shall open soon. As I've already said, we are going to see Alexa Bliss returning to the WWE soon. Nathan says, John should win the world title, then drop it to Bron Breakker. No intention of doing that. KJ says, since it's a topic, I'll name some guys I want Cena to face. Some first-time matchups like Gunter, Braun, Dominic, Mello, and Fatu. Dominic, that's a name that needs to come up more often. Dominic Mysterio versus John Cena would be great. Carlos says, I follow Stephanie Vaca on all our social media. Still in Mexico awaiting her working visa. Well, that may make the sense then, might it? A lot of people saying hi troll, bye troll. Always appreciate that. Yes, unfortunately, Metal Mama, they are still arguing over a bracelet. As Sayanch, no, AJ Styles is not retired. In fact, we're hearing plenty of reports from PWInsider that he's back last week. Spider-Boss says, a good storyline for Stephanie Vaca would face Roxanne Perez. Since Julia hasn't debuted yet, Stephanie Vaca is right there. She's not right there, though. She's not quite. Thank you, Sai. Thank you, Bailey. Looks like overall we're doing okay. Few people getting a little bit of lag, but it doesn't look like it's my side. Like the little. Interesting. I'm not seeing any dropped frames, but that doesn't mean anything. If so many of you are getting it, that does suggest that there is a problem on our side. I'll investigate that after the show. Thank you for letting me know. Eric says John Cena versus Bron Breakker for the Intercontinental Championship, and then versus Chad Gable later to drop the title. Michael says Cena shouldn't be anywhere near the championship, which I agree with. C-Max says, good evening, Tom. Was getting lag earlier. Appreciate that, guys. Spider-Boss says, in 2019, The Undertaker helped Roman on his rivalry with Shane McMahon. 2024, The Undertaker got involved in Roman's match with Cody. Never got why The Undertaker got involved with the Bloodline. It's more about The Rock. It's more about The Rock. Jason wants Cena versus Bronson Reed. Trekkipedia says, I like them taking their time with Bron, let him have a good run with the title, then he can be pushed to main title. I personally would have him going until WrestleMania. Interesting entertainment, so it does seem to be certain devices. Interesting. Sid says, will AJ Styles return to TNA for a run? TNA want him, and I believe he wants it too. Thank you, Trekkipedia. We have 60 likes at the moment, 119 people watching, primarily because somebody mentioned lag. We got the chat rate going and we added about 60 more people to the show. So whatever is happening, I think a lot of people are refreshed at once because a lot of people seem to get lag and then the chat rate really got going. So let's get to our next piece of news because there is still some news to go through. The brother of a former employee of WWE has reported that according to Linda McMahon, Vince McMahon's health is failing him. Now, I did some digging into this, and what I found was an entertainment website called Pinkzilla, who's apparently confirmed this particular information. I went digging even further after doing a little bit of journalistic chicken on Twitter, and what I found was that Linda McMahon is not able to confirm this. The Vince McMahon camp are keeping stum. They're keeping quiet. They're not talking about anything. However, I can talk a little bit about the tactics that have so far been displayed based on my observations as regards the lawsuit and the active federal investigation. I released a YouTube video basically asking the question, will Vince McMahon go to jail? And covering some of the allegations that have been made against him more in depth. As regards jail, there is a school of thought from people I've been speaking to that Vince McMahon, at the age that he is, would not be able to handle jail. And as such, it may not be in his best interests to go to jail at all, and a different method may be required. Now, those are people near to Vince McMahon, not necessarily lawyers. Post Wrestling and Brandon Thurston did some digging, and speaking directly to Vince McMahon's lawyer, this claim was denied. However, the digging that I've done is inconclusive at best. Tom Cole is not necessarily the most reliable source. Linda McMahon, to my knowledge, is not confirming this. However, there is a debatable point as to whether this could be an effective tactic if there was a genuine fear that they would not be able to succeed in getting this overturned. A little bit of news on a report from WrestleVotes. A WrestleVotes report came out stating that there would be a new name for Judgment Day. A WrestleVotes report then came out stating that there would not be a new name for Judgment Day. Thus, they got the headlines twice and reported absolutely nothing. I've done some more digging myself, and I can say that Street Trash was never intended to be a faction name. Judgment Day was never going to be renamed Street Trash. In fact, the Street Trash moniker was not Judgment Day's at all. It was a nickname, a new moniker like the Tribal Chief or The Game for Damian Priest. It was not a case of Damian Street Trash Priest. It was a case of I'm Damian Priest, I'm Street Trash, and I'm going to be the World Heavyweight Champion. That sort of thing. It was pitched for Damian Priest to take him to the next level. A recognisable moniker that you could put on a shirt and people would be able to wear the Street Trash name to really heighten the overall branding of Damian Priest. They are looking for new options for merch for Damian Priest as they try and keep him at the level that they've just been able to bring him to. There is a concern that now he is not World Heavyweight Champion, a feud with Finn Balor will not keep Damian Priest at a high enough level to maintain the interest required. Marcel wants Cena versus Priest. Sean says, do you still have Seth and Becky returning at or around Royal Rumble time? Yeah, generally. Sid says, if Shane McMahon goes to AEW, will he wrestle? I hope to God not. One says, hey Tom, I want Cena versus AJ. Why do all the Meltzer and SRS, the enemy, think Shane, as head of creative, will fix the AEW ratings? I don't believe they've necessarily said that, but the idea of Shane McMahon being in charge of creative has been mentioned before. It is a job that he wanted in WWE. He does have a lot of experience to share. However, his creative was not well received. Spider-Bot says, do you see Alba Fire and Isla Dawn retaining the women's tag team titles on Raw next week? For now, yes I do. Trickopedia says, everyone here is fantastic. Always glad to be here. You all make me feel welcome. Appreciate that, Trickopedia. It's a very nice thing to say. People can thank Trickopedia for that, if you'd like to. If you don't like to, no pressure. Always good. Do your thing. King Azza says, Tom, I think Cena should beat Gunter at WrestleMania. I definitely do not. No, Carlos, that is unlikely, but it does depend on the situation. We'll see as it develops. More on the reporting of that later. This guy says, did you see that Matt Camp from The Bump this week stated Megan Morant got him fired earlier this year? No, he did not state that. He did not state that Megan Morant got him fired because she didn't. She didn't. Awkward question, Billy, and absolutely not one that I'm going to go further with. Just that's not a question I can really respond to, and you know this. You absolutely know this. Drive-by says, I'd be up for Roman and Cena tagging together sometime. Two goats? Could well be. Could well be. There's a Becky Lynch channel. Loving the idea. The Becky Lynch channel says, what happened to Lyra Valkyria? She wrestles regularly. She's on TV all the time. Metal Mama says, hate to say it, I feel like he's riding it out, hoping DT gets into office and pardons him. I can't trust or take people seriously that associate with Donald. There has been meetings and discussions between Donald Trump and Vince McMahon. KJ says, maybe WrestleVotes is wrong and made up an excuse. Maybe. So Jan says, we've seen tag match Cena and Reigns versus Kane and Orton in 2014. I think I want singles match Cena versus Reigns for a third time. Gold says, hello Tom. Seems AEW is getting a big increase in Warner Bros. Discovery. That's why they're doing a stadium show in Texas and signing a lot of free agents. Haven't heard that one myself, mate. Doesn't mean it's not happening, but I haven't heard that one myself. So Young says, will Edge return to WWE? There is no interest at this point from the WWE towards Edge. Spider-Boss says, do you think Daniel Garcia stays with AEW? Personally, yes I do. Trekipedia says, Tom, is the bump cancelled over on WWE? Yes, at this point in time, to my knowledge, the bump has been cancelled. It wasn't really doing the numbers. Eric says, I predict Alba Fire and Isla Dawn will drop the Women's Tag Team Championships to the Kabuki Warriors. That would mean Asuka returning to in-ring action. Joey says, do you think SummerSlam could be at Wembley next year since All In is going to Texas? Could be, but that wouldn't necessarily mean that All In doesn't go. All In just weren't necessarily wanting to pay for Wembley this year. They want to keep it fresh, so going every year didn't quite work with what they were going for. Spider-Bot says, do you think Dominic takes the pin at Bash in Berlin in order for Rhea to get her rematch with Liv? I don't think they're too directly connected. King Arthur says, Tom, do you see Roman getting written off TV today with the new bloodline attacking him? No. Ashton said, why did WWE not make Jade and Bianca the longest reigning tag team champions? The ball was there and all they needed to do is run with it. Any idea why? Because it would have built Jade. Tell you exactly why. The WWE lost confidence in Jade Cargill. Sherry, welcome to Hi Tom. Thanks for the updates. The day's crewing a bit for SmackDown. Good to see you, Sherry. Thank you for joining us and shouting out the crew. If you are a Wrestling Days community member and you watch the SmackDown watch parties, shout out now. This is absolutely a chance for you to celebrate having recognizing people in a brand new stream. Sid, match didn't happen, mate. Jason says, if a journalist reports something wrong, what is the proper protocol? The proper protocol is to withdraw the report and apologise. Also, the proper protocol is to accept apologies, and that is an issue that we tend to see. You see, if a wrestling journalist comes out and apologises, people assume that they were lying, they don't assume that they were wrong. An apology nowadays is often viewed as an admission of guilt, when it isn't. Sean says, Becky appeared on the Games with Names podcast with former NFL football player Julian Edelman. Shaw Games says, are Punk and Randy going to have a match for their NXT shows in October, or is it just a small segment like how Cody has done? Let's talk about that. CM Punk is going global and has intentions of appearing on NXT, Raw, SmackDown, and any other areas that the WWE intend to use him. He's at this point trying to really make effort to show that he's a company guy, meaning that we may well see a CM Punk appearance in TNA at some point, which would be interesting. He's likely to make appearances across multiple brands, but a large part of this is ensuring that NXT gets off to a good start. CM Punk has pledged his personal time in order to really help the WWE however they can be helped. He's spending a lot of time down in NXT, and the talent there are very grateful to be able to learn and lean on his experience. CM Punk is one of those that has added a hell of a lot, and he is looking to wrestle on NXT in October for the Chicago show. That's what he's trying to make happen. I would be very surprised if he doesn't get his wish. Metal Mama wants Naomi at the top for a while. Trekipedia says, anyone honestly blacklisted by WWE still? Yeah, Jericho. One says, Mercedes Money was dancing while Swerve threw the first pitch of the Texas Rangers baseball game. Sid says, are you looking forward to Premier League returning? Yes, I am. Good football is never anything to be disappointed by. Ashton says, referring back to my question, Mr. Tom, will it make Jade mid-card after all their hype? Nope. Though what I will say is that the Women's Tag Team Championships have always been mid-card at best. So Jan said, well, when Cena comes back, will he continue his losing streak or win some matches? He will win some matches, yes. Spider Boss says, I kind of get why WWE lost faith in Jade Cargill, and then says some inaccurate information about Jade being lazy in the ring. It's not the case. She's been working harder than anyone at the Performance Center to improve. I think a large part of it is down to her own confidence as well. Joey says, is WWE hoping to get more eyes on the CW taking NXT out of the PC? Yes, and that is also why CM Punk is going to be involved. Billy suggests CM Punk on commentary, but in reality that's not something WWE really like to do much. Last bit of information is unfortunately on a sensitive subject. Afa Hanoi, the surviving member of the Wild Samoans, has unfortunately passed and will be remembered by the surviving legacy of the Samoan family and the Samoan wrestling dynasty. The bloodline naturally are an extension of what he started, and long term we will undoubtedly remember him very fondly through the family he leaves behind. What I did want to say is I have serious questions over the integrity of a pro wrestling reporter who reports that a man has died and then 20 minutes later reports, sorry, no he hasn't. I have serious questions about that. It's naturally a good thing that he corrected his information, but there was not an apology. To read the tweet, a correction. Afa has not passed away, he is battling. No apology. It's not good. It really isn't. There is a reason that pro wrestling journalism is not taken seriously. There is a reason for it. And when the most prominent wrestling reporter pulls shit like that, that's why. Sean says, I'm surprised WWE let Zachary Wentz come back on TV. I'm not. They didn't really want to let him go in the first place. Spider-Boss says, CM Punk appearing on SmackDown. Do you think we could see Punk getting beaten up by the new bloodline? I think the day will come. KJ says, imagine this, Tom. Punk is on the NXT debut episode in Chicago, gets a match the following week, which is going head-to-head of AEW, and beat AEW their very own. To be fair, Ring of Honor. Sean says, is Dave Meltzer, has he ever apologised? As I did mention earlier, for many, an apology is an admission of guilt and a suggestion that you're lying. So I get why some don't, but I don't forgive them for it. Brad says, you're not alone in that one, Tom. It was disgusting. Metal Mama says, will we see John Cena come out as the peacemaker? No, we will not. He will simply be John Cena. Lugan says, saw that tweet by Dave and got really mad. Sid says, I remember watching the Head Shrinkers in WWF when I was a kid. And Sean says, and I appreciate this, Tom Colohue makes wrestling journalism cool. Sherry says, so many people lack comprehension skills. It's awful. I saw the post, half read it and ran with it. Made me sad his daughter had to get online and address. It's worth pointing out, of course, that when Dave Meltzer reports something, media across the world report it. Then he comes back and says, yeah, no he wasn't. A horrible thing. Spider-Boss says Meltzer was the one who said Roman's leukemia was storyline. He didn't apologise. I am calling on Dave Meltzer to apologise for the inaccuracies that he has made and the comments that he has made, which essentially make light of an extremely sensitive situation. I call on Dave Meltzer to apologise so that we can move on from his mistake. I don't think that is a lot to ask. Ashton says, thank you, Tom, on that comment about wrestling journalists. Appreciate you, Ashton. And Lugan says, that's the funniest part. Dave keeps complaining about other people's reading comprehension and then does this. Yeah. Trekipedia says, I don't like Meltzer in his reporting. He needs to apologise and realise it's not all about him. That seems a decent place to end it. We've been live for 54 minutes. We reached 70 likes and peaked at a wonderful 123 viewers. Without any advertising for the stream, that is a great number. We've seen a lot of new names and new faces in the chat today. I want to say a massive thank you to all of you for joining us. 10 PM every Monday, every Friday for the UK viewers, 5 p.m. Eastern Time for US viewers. We will see you again. Until then, as usual, I've been Tom Colohue, you've been fantastic, and I'll see you all very soon.